Death is just a kind servant who, with a silent hand, unlocks the flower-covered door of life to show us those we love. I spent many years at the bedside of the dying, and each time I clearly saw the same picture. While those present at the deathbed mourn and cry, the soul of the departing one separates from the body and watches what is happening. The soul that has separated from the body is met by other souls and accompanied to the afterlife. Such an observation was once told by clairvoyant and psychic Andrew Jackson Davis, who lived in the 19th, early 20th centuries in the United States, who in his youth discovered the ability of clairvoyance in himself. Andrew Jackson Davis claimed that thanks to his ability, he could see the world of spirits as clearly as the owner of the house, sitting by the window, can see the flowers in his garden. According to Davis, he not only gained knowledge about ancient events and could see some future events, but also had the opportunity to see where the afterlife was and how it was structured, or rather one of its parts, which the clairvoyant called the summer country. Andrew Jackson Davis was born into a working-class American family. In his autobiography, he said that he grew up like a weed. The boy's parents were not involved in his upbringing. Andrew's father was constantly busy looking for work, and when he managed to earn something, most of this money ended up in taverns. Andrew's parents were so absorbed in other concerns that he lived without a name for the first days of his life. A friend of the Davis family suggested giving the boy the name Andrew. He said that this name would bring success and fame to the newborn. These words turned out to be prophetic. Fame came to Andrew, but at first he faced difficult trials. Andrew Jackson Davis said that his entire childhood was spent in fear. He often went hungry. In the evenings, the boy often hid on the street so as not to fall under the hot hand of his father when he returned home. The mother could not protect her child. She herself suffered from the cruelty of her husband. Unable to find protection from adults, Andrew often turned to God and asked for intercession. Once, during such a tearful prayer, he heard someone's voice. This voice told him, "Everything will be fine with you." From that day on, according to Andrew Davis, he often heard voices that consoled him and gave him some advice. Davis recalled that these voices were always accompanied by unearthly music. Beginning at the age of 12, visions were added to the voices. Andrew saw the first of them when his mother died. On that February day, he was on the street and did not yet know that his mother was no longer there. Walking along a dirty street, for a moment he clearly saw a meadow with beautiful flowers and a beautiful house in front of him. At that moment, Andrew heard his mother's voice, which said that she would now live in this house. When I came home and learned that my mother was no longer alive, this news was not so devastating for me, because thanks to the vision I understood that my mother had been transferred to a happy world and would now live there, recalled Andrew Jackson Davis. In his youth, Andrew Davis managed to improve his clairvoyance abilities so much that he could name people he did not know, predict small events of the coming future, and also see a person's ailments. According to Davis, when he was asked to name a person's illness, after a certain adjustment, the patient's body became transparent and shining for him. In the part of the body where the radiance was absent, Davis found the illness. He amazed people with his knowledge, especially those who knew that the clairvoyant had no education. Andrew Davis believed in the afterlife and the possibility of communicating with the dead. He believed that communication with spirits would benefit humanity, help to understand the mysteries of the past and look behind the curtain of the future. Davis's contemporaries, who tried to profit from his abilities, called the clairvoyant a fool, since he did not want to make money on this during a public demonstration of his abilities. As a result, Davis withdrew from his public performances and directed all his thoughts to God. He was sure that it was from there that he received his amazing gift. Introducing his contemporaries to the summer country, Andrew Davis noted that there are many abodes in the spiritual world. The summer country is only a part of that world. What is this country, and where is it located? The summer country is a belt of land resembling the rim of a wheel, the width of which is 70 million miles. The summer country extends beyond the Milky Way. To your imagination, it may seem that this spiritual world is far away, that it must be a vast and distant existence, because astronomers have not looked into it. But I believe that in the future astronomers will discover with the help of physical instruments that part of the spiritual world called the summer country. In addition, I believe that astronomers will see landscapes and physical scenes there more clearly than the vague images that have been discovered through telescopes on various planets, said Andrew Davis. According to Andrew Davis, his visions of the summer country change depending on the season and the position of our planet. Thus, in autumn and winter he saw some parts of the summer country, and in spring and summer completely different parts were revealed to him. The first observations of the world of spirits, which Andrew Davis conducted, allowed him to see one of the rivers of the summer country. The observer thought that this river flowed through the air. It was a river of various streams that mixed and widened into a vast sea, thus becoming a fluid element of perfect beauty in the land of spirits. Davis emphasized that this river was as clearly visible to him as the earthly Hudson River. Along the river, Andrew Davis saw what in our world would be called grasses. They were like moss, their fibers were silkier than those of the earthly analog, and reflected the rainbow colors of the diamond. Davis later tried to reproduce the effect of the color he saw. For this purpose, he visited art galleries, but did not encounter this color on any canvas. According to Davis, in the sea that he saw in the summer country, at different times in his life he saw different islands. The dead found their refuge on one or another island of the summer country, depending on their thoughts and aspirations. Andrew Davies emphasized that the dead take their places in the summer country according to their moral status, and not according to their intellectual abilities or social status. The decisive role in this selection is always played by the question of morality, that is, whether the person was spiritually faithful to truth and justice. With your moral status, you yourself determine yourself after death where you will be at home, in a place close to you in spirit, like fish in water and birds in the air. The internal principle of justice, whether you know it or not, is the omnipresent judgment of God, at which you judge yourself, and your immortal memory becomes your accuser. This is the conviction that Andrew Davies came to while observing life in the summer country. And what do you think about this, dear viewers? Write about it in your comments, and see you on our channel.